Okay, and welcome today to another episode of the 2KG's broadcasting on KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority, and ContraRadioNetwork.com. You can also check us out at www.2crazyguys.com with a K, the letter K, 2KRAZY guys.com. My name is Donald Lowry, aka Big D, and I have waiting in the wings my good friend and partner in craziness, or whatever you want to call in kookiness. A couple of kooky guys.
Yeah.
Mark Boyle, how you doing, prepper guy?
Hey, I'm doing just awesome. Just you know, everybody's been talking all week about the Mueller
Oh my
testimony.
God, what a freaking sham that was, huh?
Yeah, that was probably one of the, I would say, the best dog and pony shows I'd seen in a long
Well,
time.
that was a Democrats' attempt at reviving a dead issue.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it, and I actually did a podcast that I'm going to post, and to me it was like a Hail Mary pass, for the Democrats, at the end of this winding down, boring game. And then it was intercepted by the Republicans and ran back for a touchdown.
Well, let
So
me let me just pop this out there real quick. I don't know, I can't make any promises, but we are expecting a guest appearance from John Jeffers. So he may pop on. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that was kind of a crazy gig, man. I don't recall that. I can't discuss that. What did you not write the report or something?
obviously he didn't, and I think it was Gowdy that called him on that, or one of the,
Unbelievable, man.
yeah, and I was shocked that the cheerleaders in the media, instead of going, well, Mueller, he's getting older, and this, you know, investigation really took its toll on him, and it's all Trump's fault. Even they had to say, "What a disaster!"
Yeah.
And you could tell Mueller was, he's getting old. Yeah, that's fine. But and a lot of those things he said were just time killing maneuvers.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they
all it
only they
was.
only had 5 minutes. Each
Running
one.
out the clock, man. That's all it was running out. And then, they're towards the end. I'm putting the sound bites together for from my next podcast as well, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to find all the sound bites. But they're towards the end. Even the Democratic senators that were, running out the clock. They had nothing left. What a miserable failure, and what a slap in the face to the Democrats, man.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good on them for us.
Well, I guess, but
Because
the media was in a frenzy. Mueller said that I didn't exonerate Trump, and Mueller said that we could go after him after he gets out of office, and all this other stuff.
yeah, and the first, I think it was one of the first guys that questioned him was Ratcliffe, and he pretty much put the nails in it right then. That was the end of the whole thing. Could have ended right there. He's like, you don't exonerate people, you prosecute them, or you don't.
Right.
And so Ratcliffe nailed it, and I think Gohmert nailed it again. They all said the same thing. It's like, this was not your job. Volume one of the report seemed to be the meat of it. And then volume two, I guess there was two volumes in this silly thing.
There was the volume.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of sound bites from the media, which
Yeah.
has nothing to do in a legal case.
Volume one was on collusion, and volume two was on obstruction.
Mm-hmm. And both of them kind of wound down to the same argument. I can't remember who it was that said, I think it was Gohmert, was just saying, considering everything Trump had going against him in this thing, the 20, 30 people that Mueller had hired that hated him, all the emails, millions of emails and everything. Trump stood back and gave them plenty of rope to hang themselves. They found nothing. and then they want to call that obstruction of justice. He could have fired them all and closed the investigation down from day one.
Legally, he could have.
All
Yes.
the authority to do that.
By the way, he didn't fire Mueller. Mueller resigned.
Right. So all the options he had at his, all the tools in his tool belt, he could have fired him. He could have changed everybody. He could have fired Mueller.
Mueller retired.
Yeah. He could have, said, no, you're not hiring these people, because he's the chief law dude. He's over the executive.
Yeah.
And yet he let them do it, and then they turn around and call it obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
How could anybody be accused of that? And
yeah,
then
the president of the United States has the authority, the legal authority, to fire anybody in the CIA, or anybody in the FBI, or anybody, Mueller or any of those guys.
Right. He got rid of, he asked Comey to resign, basically, or whatever happened in that fiasco. But that was well within his right to do that.
Yes.
Obama let go how many, 20, 30, 40,000 judges, because that's his privilege.
Yeah.
And we don't want him around anyway. So, but, so they just act like there's a there and some kind of smoking gun. And Trump gave them every opportunity and completely worked with them and was, compliant with them, and they found nothing. So to me, it's the end of it. And yet I'm sure they'll try to find a way to drag this around some more, red meat.
Well, it was the end of it when Mueller resigned or retired.
Right.
It was the end of it when Mueller submitted his report to William Barr, and Barr released the version, the redacted version that he's required legally to redact names of certain individuals.
Right.
And so Barr released a pretty largely unredacted, but it was redacted version of the report. That's when it was done. And I remember Nancy Pelosi, we must accept the findings of the Mueller report regardless of what the findings are. Right. And when they came back and said there was no collusion, obstruction of justice. Well, right. See, now you see they don't have anything there. So now it's campaign finance crimes.
Right. Because he funded his own damn, campaign almost.
Right.
He's not getting paid. Leave the guy alone. But they won't. And to me, I see a bigger picture in all this, just looking at it from, you can call it a conspiracy thing or whatever. But the socialist and the Democrat party since Wilson and FDR have been on this slippery slope. I mean, it's a super slip and slide. They're having a great time. And their end game is not your freedom and liberty or my freedom or liberty or the Constitution. And when you look at it in that prism and you go, wait a minute, what do they want out of all this planning of theirs? Well, they want some form of socialism, and they don't want you to be free, and they don't want to follow the Constitution. In fact, they'd like to just shred the damn thing.
Right.
So this was a giant disturbance in the force for the Democrats. And to sit back and think they're just going to go on their merry way, I doubt the puppet masters, in that cabal of people, the deep state or whatever, are going to take this land down. This was
right.
a big hit to them. And they're not going to let their 50, 80, 100-year plan go down the toilet because some radical named Trump came in and threw a wrench in it.
Well, by the way, Ivanka's racist because she got a white dog, right?
Oh.
That's what they're saying.
Didn't Obama have a white dog?
I don't know. His dog's name was Bo. I thought it was black. I don't know.
Care less about.
But that would make him racist, though, because he got a black dog.
Right. Because she has a white dog. So
yeah.
Well, it's only
now when we get animals of color, we're racist.
Right. Of color.
Figure that crap, will you?
And I've been checking myself out, being in the sun and shit, and I'm a person of color now too. I mean, it's such wordsmithing and newspeak the way they do this.
Absolutely. They're just words, buddy.
A person of color. Oh, is that a yellow person? No. How about brown? No. Just black. Well, they're not.
Oh, you said it. You racist.
I
You said it.
I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to play their game anymore. I'm going to say bad words.
I have to host a show with a stinking racist, man. God.
I know. It's terrible.
I have a white cat. Does that make me a racist?
Well, I'm a good guy then, because my dog is part black, it's a dachshund, and part brown. So I love both colors.
Hey.
Yeah. See, bet you didn't know that. My computer is black. My tactical weapon, what do they call it? My assault rifle is black.
Oh, you have one of those evil, mean-looking guns?
Yeah.
Ew.
Which is funny because assault has to do more with a physical, action.
Yeah.
Than the definition of a type of gun.
Yeah. So if I stab you with my knife, does that make it an assault knife?
Yeah, because I got 5 or 6 assault hammers laying around. And when I used to get pissed off at my helpers and throw a tape measure at them, I guess that was an assault tape measure.
You're a mean boss.
I am. I'm terrible. That's why I don't work with people anymore.
So anyway,
should I rephrase that? That's why people don't work with me anymore.
Amen, brother. Listen, we're going to run to a break. We are going to take a moment and listen to our sponsors, and we will be back right after this. Do not go away.
That's right.
Hey, welcome back to the program. It is the second segment of today's program. You're listening to us on KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. Listen, there's not a whole lot to talk about this Mueller thing, man. I mean, other than the fact that, every time a Democrat asked him a question, he was on point. And every time a Republican asked him a question, he was a stumbling, bumbling fool. I don't remember that. I don't recall that. I didn't write that. I can't talk about that. We can't go there.
Yeah, and isn't the investigation over, at least what they were questioning him about? So why can't he talk about it?
The investigation is over, but he can't talk about it because Nadler put a quash order on it.
Oh, Nadler, the guy that was in one of the clips I saw, he was almost going into a coma. Some kind of press conference, and he was literally almost falling over on the table, and I can't remember who it was that was going, you need a drink of water, and they're acting like he's just dehydrated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. That did happen. He was actually taken to the hospital.
Yeah. And I hate to laugh at somebody like that, but it sucks. It's too bad that he's not wise enough in his old age to go, you know what, I'm done with this.
I'm kind of worried about Nancy Pelosi, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, she's having some hard time staying connected with reality.
Well, not just that. I don't know if she's drunk all the time or if she's had so many strokes that's how she slurs her speech. But my God, Mark, to listen to her, you'd think she was 3 bottles into a bottle of gin or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and Alex Jones made some good comments about some of these people that, you got Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, you have Mueller, you have the other guy, Nadler. And he goes, they're actually, he goes, that's a sign of fear too, with people. They know that Trump's about to sink his claws in on this, crap now that he's clear, because it's a fight, and I think Trump understands that this is a fight for America's freedom, and that's the one point I made in my Wednesday podcast was, this is literally a battle, and it's a battle from within. It's easy when we went to war with Germany or Japan and all that, because they had attacked us and it was us against them. This is an enemy within. So it's almost like a family dispute. So when you start slinging accusations and things like that, you're talking about your family. It makes it a different dynamic. You just can't be as harsh.
Well, speaking of Biden, I hate to cut you off there.
Oh, no.
But speaking of Biden, there's a poll out there that says Biden is the only. They're trying to keep him alive, even though
Literally.
even though he's sinking, and he's sinking fast. The media and everybody, they're trying to keep him alive because they think he's the only hope. And you've got, these socialists that are out there running that are stealing the spotlight. But there's a poll out there that says Biden is the only Democrat leading Trump in Ohio.
Yeah, among Democrats.
Now, Biden said he is not going to be as polite in the next debate, too. That next debate's coming up here pretty quickly. It's next week, right?
Yep, the clown circus is back in town.
The circus show is back in town, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be calling it.
Well, the testimony was kind of like a icing on the cake, for me as a conservative, but it really was the crazy train going off the rails as the Trump train just blew right on by.
Yeah.
And I think the turbulence was just too great for that crazy train to even keep up with. And if they go and stick Biden in there, Trump will be the one that'll have to sit there and go, "Are you all right, Joe? You need a drink of water? Are you dehydrated?" He'll have to go help stand him up in the stage because Biden is falling apart.
I'll be honest with you. As nasty as Joe Biden is, that's the one I want to see debate Trump.
Oh yeah, because he can't play any of these race cards or,
Well, not only that,
any of them.
Donald Trump is just Donald Trump, and he will sink Joe Biden in a heartbeat in a debate, man.
Yeah, he'll sink that sinking ship.
I think the funniest thing was when they were it was him and Hillary Clinton were having their debates, and Hillary Clinton says, "Yeah, we don't. It's a good thing we don't have a man like Donald Trump as president." And he said, "Yeah, because you'd be in jail."
Yeah. And I wonder, was this whole Mueller report and this investigation with Russia, just to throw something out there like subterfuge or a deflection to where he didn't just go after the Clintons?
Well, that's what it was. As long as he was on the defense, he can't play his offensive game. And they know that.
Yeah. And now I think he has pretty much among the base, he's always had a mandate. But even among just the normal people in America, I think he's proven that he's got a mandate to go after her now. All these smoke and mirror shows are over.
Well, let me say something here. Donald Trump has begun his offensive game, and you know what it's called? It's called William Barr.
Oh yeah. William Barr seems to, they don't talk about him much in the media. Well, maybe they do. I just ignore the media, but he must be, one of them sharks swimming around in the deep water, getting ready to just eat everything in the deep state.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping so because, I look at this as really a fight for freedom. And, we've always been at war or at odds with the Democrat Party, but I think Wilson and FDR really took us far to the left.
Yeah.
And with all these social programs and all that, it just continues to compound. And, and the Republicans are no better at it. I was watching a really good video by Chris Ann Hall about social media. And she's like, as a constitutional person, it's not the Democrats' business or the Republicans' business whether social media is doing one thing or the other.
Right.
And just because they've thrown in some, candy for these big tech companies doesn't make what they're doing right, but it doesn't make it wrong. And we as American people are the ones that are supposed to be smart enough to just, either not play the game or play it differently. So it was really good. I mean, because when you really look at America, the way it's supposed to run by constitutional, authority, they don't have any right in any of our business regarding anything.
No.
And we don't, it's just like when, I was showing you my trusses I'm trying to design, and stuff. everything I read about it, it always defaults back to uh, look up your building code and talk to a building inspector. It's like, I don't want to.
Right.
I think I can figure this out on my own. Well, it's the same with politics. It's always like, oh, this is too complicated. Let's let government fix it. And we're the ones that have drug ourselves down this pit, by
Right.
just being too lazy, I guess, or apathetic, I guess.
Well, let's see. Yeah. Now, so in other news,
There's other
record,
news.
record high, 108 degrees in Paris.
Global warming. We're all
That
going to die.
It's a bitch, man.
Yeah.
And it looks like North Korea's fired off a couple of missiles.
Okay.
And they went a couple hundred miles or something like that, and then they fell off into the Sea of Japan. I guess he's doing this in defiance of because the annual war games that happen over there with the U.S. and South Korea, and he always bumps up the rhetoric, and
Right.
this because he says it's it's a provocation, and so he's pitching another fit. Trump says he really wants to try to resume talks with the guy, and look, I'm telling you, man, Donald Trump. People can say what they want about the man, but I'm telling you, he has got so much patience, man. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah. It's
How does
amazing.
I mean, my God, Mark, if I would have been in his shoes, North Korea would have been dead by now. The Democrats, Hillary Clinton would be in jail right alongside of Barack Obama.
Right.
And Comey and the whole bunch of them would all be, on jail row right there. Um, the man has just an amazing amount of patience, man.
Well, I think he understands negotiation. He wrote the book on it and the art of the deal. And I think he really does understand that sometimes it takes time. You look at that family in North Korea. I mean, what was it? The grandfather was crazy. The father was crazy. He's crazy. And you're trying to, get past that. That takes time. Takes a lot of building trust. I think Kim just wants to be part of these games, and they're not letting him play. So he's just going, look at me over here. Look, I can shoot a missile over here.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
He's just spoiled and feels left out. And he
Well, I'll
needs to
tell you,
keep his people thinking he's like can walk on water or
he's definitely not a threat. I'll tell you that right now.
no, he's not. His country's not a threat. They never were a threat. They would be a threat if we wanted to go marching in there with 100,000 troops.
Well, here's where the threat is. The threat is we've got Seoul, South Korea sitting pretty much right there on the border. And he's got all those, Scuds and all that, those mobile rocket launchers sitting right there pointing at South Korea. And so if we did something, that would be his defense. He would just offload all of those missiles into South Korea and kill literally hundreds of thousands of innocent people.
Yeah, sucks to be them.
That's the only danger that North Korea,
they are the kin of North Korea. And so if anybody should be working with them to get their head out of their butt, it should be South Korea.
Right.
But even South Korea is like, we've had it. They're crazy. We'll let America way the hell over there figure it out. And then if we get people killed because Trump pisses off Kim or any of the other presidents, then we'll blame America. It's like, hey, this is your backyard. Fix it. Otherwise, sucks to be you if he launches a bunch of Scuds. We're more than willing to sell you a bunch of phalanx systems and stuff that'll shoot all that down, but it's going to cost you $200 billion.
So listen, we're going to have to run to a break, but before we do, one thing I'll say before we head to the break is you do know that Epstein was found injured in jail, and they've put him on suicide watch. That's a developing story that we'll have to watch because remember, Bill Clinton has ties to this man. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. Alrighty, welcome back. Just before the break, and then we had to cut. I had talked about Epstein being found with marks on his throat, and let's see, it was marks on his throat, on his neck. I'm sorry, and they found him semi-conscious in the jail, and he has now been put on quote unquote suicide watch. Well, remember, people, when you mess with the Clintons, you
Yeah.
end up not waking up on trains, not remembering stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and you end up, committing suicide. Remember that one guy that shot himself in the back of the head twice?
Oh, Vince Foster,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty amazing how the guy could shoot himself 2 times and then throw the gun before he died. And he shot himself in the head.
Yeah.
It's,
Clintons have friends everywhere, and or they have legions of supporters everywhere.
yep.
And you know, Bill Clinton played with this guy quite a bit,
Yep.
spent quite a bit of
Well,
time with this guy.
it always amazed me that even in prison, a house for the crazies, they don't even like child molesters.
No.
And then it's like, oh, we're going to put him on suicide watch. I doubt he tried to choke himself to death. You know,
Yeah.
why don't they just say it like it is? You know, they're trying to protect him from getting murdered in there until he can go to trial. But
Well, I don't know, but it's just interesting. I would be willing to bet that if they investigated it, they would find some kind of a paper trail leading back to Slick Willie Billy.
yep, yep, the Clinton Foundation. Well, and I I hate being the guy to say it, but he has the presumption of innocence for now, and he
But
needs
Trump
to.
didn't.
Well, that's Trump because they hate Trump. They like Epstein because they're all a bunch of chomos too. But we have to assume he's innocent, keep him alive, and then prove him guilty and let him testify. Oh, well, Clintons don't want that either. But and then we can make our conclusions because it's easy to be a armchair jury member.
Or we can just listen to what I have to say and tell you right now that the man flew on, Bill Clinton flew on his plane many, many times, went to the island of the tropical paradise many, many times. Manifests show Bill Clinton flying on on Epstein's jet many, many times. And like I said, I would be willing to bet that the Clintons are linked to this incident somehow or another.
Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't. The Clintons were part of the Pizzagate thing, which they turned into a joke, which had to do with child porn and
Right.
child molestation and all that. I think it's sick,
Yeah.
and it's hard to even respond to it. If he's guilty, then I don't really care if he's found at the bottom of a sewer,
Right.
But until then, the Clintons being chummy with some really low people. They're not going to let him testify if there's any chance that they're going to get drug into that sewer also. Which is funny because they put themselves in that sewer years ago. Now they're upset about it. Yeah. It's just, the more you look at the news, the more you go, where's our values as a nation? Gone, I guess. They want to just kill babies and, total disregard. You hear the Democrats always say, well, it's Roe v. Wade, it's settled law. Well, yeah, and the way the Supreme Court ruled on it is if they could find that there were signs of life, basically, in their opinion, earlier than the first trimester, they were willing to say that it could be less time. And the Democrats are the ones that are overturning Roe v. Wade by making it 9 months now. So, the Supreme Court did not rule on life. They ruled on death.
Right.
And so, you just wonder. It's like, you just have to shake your head when you watch the news. Maybe that's why I watch so little of it anymore.
I'm definitely getting there. And it's just mind boggling to me how they can still be called news agencies when fact is they're not even reporting the news.
No, they're every one of them now is commentary. Everybody says, "Oh, what happened to the days of Cronkite and these guys?" It's like,
Yeah,
well, they were news broadcasters. They just said, "Hey, it rained today." They didn't get into global warming and
exactly.
all that. They just said it rained. Oh,
Yes,
nice to know. There was flooding here, not
yes,
because Trump forgot to build a bridge. It was just there's flooding.
right.
Now everything is commentary,
Yeah.
and we don't get anything out of it. Speaking of commentary and silly news, my friend Tucker Carlson,
Yeah, good
he,
old Tucker.
yeah, he had Molly Hemingway on the show. I think it was Wednesday night.
Yeah.
When Mueller was stammering and going into a coma, and she had made a point about how we had voted for Trump, and his policy, especially dealing with foreign policy, was his mandate, and with the Democrats fighting him, they're really denying us our representation and our vote. And it was a really good point the way she worded it. And I tried to find the soundbite for it because it was just she nailed it really good. And Tucker goes, yeah, they're attacking our democracy. And, and I was like, no, actually, Tucker, if you think about it, that is exactly what a democracy does. It's mob rule, and they
That's right.
happen to be the mob right now.
Yeah.
So this is totally in line with what you just said, Tucker, but you're trying to use, it as a positive when it's not. And I was like, I got to find that soundbite so I can just rail on Tucker.
Drives me
Actually,
nuts, man.
it does. I mean, it's a war on America with words, with meanings, with people, division, uh, and I think I think the puppet masters that want us to lose our freedom and liberty, they this Hail Mary pass that failed so miserably, um, which is what I think the testimony was some kind of Hail Mary shot in the dark that they would rekindle the impeachment thing. I don't think they're going to take it lightly, and they've run out of tools in their toolbox. And usually, when they run out of people to blame and tools, they take us to war. They do it with the economy. They do it with politics, like we're going through right now, and social events and culture. Anytime they see they're losing their grip, they just take us to war.
Yeah.
And be great for the economy, but people are going to die, and it's just another one of those things where after another good 5-year war, we'll forget all about whatever's attacking us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what makes me worried. I really think there was a disturbance in their precious little dark side force, and they're gonna respond. And when you really analyze how many tools they got in their toolbox, that was pretty much one of the last ones.
Yeah.
So it's scary times.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. They're going on break here in a couple of days, so
Oh, good. We can get back to living.
yeah. So they'll go back to their constituents and
Butter us up.
deliver.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Representative Al Green of Texas tried to rock the impeachment vote and got his rear end handed to him. Didn't even have 100 votes.
Yeah. And
And
Pelosi might like,
now,
if Trump just went away, but she's not for impeachment either.
well, because she knows that they don't have anything.
Right. It would be a ginormous nothing burger that would leave them with all kinds of stuff on their face. One thing I want to talk about, maybe we'll talk about it when we get back from break, is what was this thing that was happening in Puerto Rico the other day?
Oh, the mayor. Yeah, that's I don't know how we missed that, but
We were watching the Mueller,
That's right.
testimony.
Well, it was a distraction. That's right. Yes. Total distraction. So the governor, not the mayor, the governor resigned because it had something to do with he obscene chats. He was doing some obscene stuff, chatting some obscene. Uh, his name is Ricardo Rossello.
Wasn't there like days of protests and stuff?
Yeah. So there was demonstrators. Basically, the largest protest, I think, at least that I can remember, there in the island's history, in their recent history. And what it was leaked private chats. And there was also some corruption investigations going on as well. So, yeah, they were in the streets for at least a couple of weeks calling for him to step down. And it was a big thing over there, man. It really was. It was a huge thing. And he's stepping down. So
good. Another cleaned out territory. I wonder who will step in for him and bigger, maybe Epstein can take the job.
Well, I would like to see Puerto Rico get someone decent over there for a change, because they've been, in recent history, they've just been inundated with idiots, right, that, can't handle anything.
Now, are they still a territory, or have they
made
it statehood?
Well, I know that they voted in favor of becoming a state, in favor of statehood, but no, they haven't gotten that yet. They are still a territory. And I don't know, I don't know when or if that's ever going to happen, but, yeah, so good for that. I'm glad to see that he's gone. And that was a big thing, man. Big thing for the island. Huge.
Yeah. Everybody looked real happy from the little news clip I saw from it. I was like, oh, what's going on over there while we're listening to, whatever that was all about on Wednesday.
Yeah, so we're going to run to break again, and we'll be back with the final segment right after this. Do not go away. Hey there, and welcome back. What kind of a program would we be running here, Mark, if we didn't talk about the squad?
Oh, yeah. The Quad Squad.
Yeah.
All four of those crazy loons.
So here's the thing. You had what's her name? Tulsi Gillibrand? No, what was her name? Tulsi. Tulsi. The one that said, and we're not going to censor this out. Well, maybe we should. We're going to impeach the MFer.
Oh, yeah, her.
Okay. Yeah. But let me tell you something. This is what Donald Trump, everybody's up in arms about what Donald Trump posted on Twitter. Now, I've got the actual quote. I have, because I actually follow him on Twitter. Imagine that. But I have the actual tweet, if you will.
Tweet.
Here's what it said. On July 14th, Donald Trump tweeted, and I'm reading the actual tweet. He said, quote, "So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they can even have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, then come back and show us how?"
Right.
That end quote. That's what he said. Now, the media immediately took this and twisted it to say that Donald Trump told them to go back home where they came from.
Yeah.
That's not what Donald Trump said. President Trump said, if you're so good at what you do, go back and fix the corrupt governments where you came from and then show us how to do it.
Right. Show us the plan.
But see, the House had to go and have a vote, to condemn the President Trump for his racist comment, and he's a racist and all this other garbage. And man, he never even said anything racist at all.
And what's the other one that always wears the thing on her head? Not AOC, but Omar.
Omar.
Yeah. Her family, I mean, there's linkages to her great-grandfather as being a slaver. Now, because slavery started in Somalia.
We're going to keep going because he also said, it is done. These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements. So
I would pay part of a ticket.
But see, here's the thing, man. They tried to turn it into something it wasn't. And he said, your country's, he was basically saying, these places need your help badly. If you're so good at what it is you do, man, your countries need you. Go back and fix it and then tell us how. And you can't do it fast enough because they really need you badly.
Right. Which is, derogatory in a way. But if, people come into my store and they start telling me how to lay carpet, it's like, hey, rent my tools and go do it yourself. And then maybe I can learn from you and your expertise. Well, see, that was my point when we were talking off air, that, as soon as Trump has served his 8 years, which he'll win in 2020. I mean, come on.
Of course.
Then Twitter and all social media will ban him, just like any other American, because they hate conservatives.
Yeah.
But Twitter was on a slow and very steep slide out of the social media.
Until Trump came along.
And now everybody's on Twitter to see what Trump is saying. Yeah. And they should give him a gold star membership for life.
Absolutely.
But they won't. They don't even understand where their bread is buttered.
Yeah. So, and so the whole thing is they tried to play the race card there, and they tried to twist it into something that it wasn't. And it just, it blows my mind how when you have so much hate for an individual that you will stop at nothing to try and discredit the man in any way, shape, or form you can. But here's the funny part about it, Mark. This is the funny part. Every time they do it, Trump gains notoriety. He goes up in the polls. He gets a boost from it. And if they would just learn to shut up, because all they're doing is they're feeding the fire, and they're leading to their own demise.
I mean, we've all heard the expression, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Trump has the best lemonade stand in the world.
Oh, man.
And they give him all the lemons he needs.
Absolutely.
And he just turns it around and flips it and turns it into a win. His ratings have gone up because of this Mueller thing. I'm sure after Mueller's testimony last Wednesday, his poll numbers probably shot up again.
I don't know, man. I haven't been watching them because I'm not a real big fan of the polls, truthfully, because they're the same polls that told us that Hillary Clinton stood a 100% chance and Donald Trump was never going to be president, and yada, 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 yada. It just blows my mind. It's funny. These people are so stupid. Yeah. I mean, Mark, sorry, and I hope that I'm not offending anybody by saying it's just the way I see it and the way I feel. They are absolutely stupid.
Well, we have some of the dumbest leaders in the world. We have losers. They're losers. They're just losers. We have very stupid people. We have stupid leadership. How stupid are our leaders? How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
Stupid.
Right. And
they're doing the man harm, and all they're doing is they're just packing more and more supporters for Trump.
People will sit there and go, why does Trump act so childish? And why does he tweet these silly little high school tweets? And it's like, well, I was always told never go into a battle of wits with an unarmed opponent. And Trump knows they are that dumb. He can't just go into battle because they are imbeciles. So he has to play it on a different level.
You know what? I was watching a thing the other day. It was a montage of video clips of Donald Trump's lashing out at the media. And one of them, he comes out of the White House and he's standing there, and you couldn't really hear what the reporter asked him, but he turned and he looked at him and he said, "That is the dumbest question I've ever heard anyone ask."
Oh, I remember that. I about whizzed myself laughing.
He goes, "Seriously, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone say in my life." He goes, "I'm not even going to answer that."
Yeah.
Expect Matt Whitaker to be involved in the Russia probe. Do you want him to?
It's up to him.
Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
Mr. President, what about Michael Cohen? Are you considering a
Thank you very
Michael
much.
Cohen? Stupid question. Go ahead. Anybody else, please?
When you take in the IQ of the people he has to deal with in the media, he has to play a childish game because that's all they're going to understand.
Oh, and then him and Jim Acosta.
Oh God, that was hysterical.
No, shut up, sit down. You're fake news. Go ahead. You're fake news. Shut up.
Next imbecile, please.
It's hilarious. Mark, look, truthfully, if I wasn't watching this unfold in front of my very eyes, I wouldn't believe any of it.
Well, future generations will read some of this and they will go, this didn't really happen, did it?
I mean, when I saw that, I'm still laughing hard thinking about it. That is the dumbest question I've ever heard anyone ask in my life.
Yeah, he is great. He is the ultimate. I hate to use the word showman because it makes it sound like his presidency is more about show, but you have to factor in the people he's dealing with.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell. Last night, I called Hillary a nasty woman. But this stuff is all relative. After listening to Hillary rattle on and on and on, I don't think so badly of Rosie O'Donnell anymore. In fact, I'm actually starting to like Rosie a lot.
Oh, man.
And I would have no patience for it. I would have shut down the newsroom years ago in the White House and just go, I'm picking people that can actually ask me a question written at a higher than a 5th grade IQ level, or something. But, you factor in that most Americans are reading at a 6th or 7th grade reading level now. We used to be 8th grade, which I thought was bad. He has to play to that crowd. He's talking to the American people with these tweets, and this is what resonates.
Well, I'm going to look for that video, Mark. And if I find it, I'm going to send you the link, and I want you to post it on 2KG's website. Okay. I'm going to post it on Red State Underground too.
And I have to, as the web guy from the 2KG's, I haven't had a lot of time to do much with it because we had some problems with getting our videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And posting stuff in there and everything. So haven't kept it current, but
yeah,
looks really great and it works really fine.
Yeah.
But so, it just, with all these projects and life and everything, it's hard to keep all the balls in the air.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I really enjoy, you know, being able to do our show for KYAH and all that, you know, and
Yeah.
and so that gets kind of top billing. And then I do the podcast, and then it filters down from there.
I totally agree. I totally get it. Totally understand.
Yes.
You know, I don't even have enough time to hardly do, and very little show prep that, you know, I have time to do. So,
Well, we don't do show prep because that's just a bad word.
yeah,
I mean,
no, for my program.
If we were doing show prep, we wouldn't be crazy.
That's true.
It would be scripted.
A lot of stuff on the fly on this program. That's
Yeah.
why we're crazy, because we talk about stuff on the fly where nobody else will.
Well, you know, and if the audience likes it and continues to listen, then good. And if they don't, send us an email. You know, Mark at 2KG's.com.
Underground Talk Show. What was that again? Say that again.
What do we got? Mark or Don, you know, either name at 2KG's.com. We have emails there, I think.
Yeah.
And or, you know, prepperguy.com, Mark at prepperguy.com, and you at Don at
No, it's at undergroundtalkshow@gmail.com.
Underground Talk Show. Send us a thought. We'll blow it off like we do anything important in life. Doesn't mean we don't love you, but, you know, I love my wife and I ignore her quite a bit. So.
Hey, listen, I hear the music playing, man. We're going to have to get out of here.
All right.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, have a great day, and stick around. There'll be more next week. So don't go, stick around to the program, and thanks for tuning in.
Hey, we love you all. Talk to you later.
You know what?
That's
I
not
think
an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much
if
better.
I may
Okay,
ask
that's
one other
enough.
question. Mr. President, if I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question. Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? No, Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
since you are attacking
No,
our news
not you.
organization,
Not
can
you.
you give us a chance?
Your organization's terrible.